Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue with this week's theme of genre fusion, exploring songs that mix and match genres, at least two, but even more. We can go to an infinite amount of genres being smashed together into a single work of art. I don't know if we'll see that this week, but I suppose it's a possibility. Today we're going to be diving into some more Thank You Scientist, which we actually haven't had on the channel in a couple of years now that I think about it. It's been a while, at least. Let's see what they're bringing to the table today with Leave Your Light On. Yeah, super groovy, lots of syncopation. It's definitely jazzy, but certainly a rock sound. I like that bass line. Harmonically, it's a little all over the place. Oh, that guitar line coming in. Dude, so much energy there, and then just the immediate dispersal. You just feel that drop. The guitar line is so great coming in from this pure rhythm section. Bass, drums, piano. Such a good second half to the verse. Ooh. Yeah, the vocals pulled out of that triplet rhythm for a little bit. We didn't see that the first pre-chorus. That arpeggiating line is pretty sick too. such an interesting pull into this solo section. Okay. Bring in the triplet underneath to help pull us into the chorus. Very smart composition there. Huh. What was different about that arpeggiating line? I think it was pitched down. I don't know if it was a full octave, but I think those were different instruments too, so we had the timbre shift on it as well. Either way, it's a variation on that. So I really love this. Now, I've enjoyed Thank You Scientist in the past, but it's always been a group that, how do I word this? I've enjoyed what they've done, but it's never really grabbed me where I need to immediately listen to them. And that's part of why I haven't heard a full album from them yet. It's always something I enjoy in the moment and something that's generally going to be of interest as a reaction. And I do enjoy their typical jazzy prog rock idea, but it's never grabbed me on that level where I need more now. And this song does. And I think part of that is it's still prog rock, but not progressive rock. That's a weird way to word that. It is still progressive writing, but it isn't in that typical prog rock sound, that jazz fusion area that they typically, that I have known them to write within. There's a different element of rock tossed in here. It is a very clear late 2000s, early 2010s, somewhere in probably that 2008 to 2012 area, alternative rock. There was a certain chord progression after, it was in the post-chorus, after the second chorus, before moving into the lighter energy bridge that took us to the guitar solo, that felt to me more like something that came off of My Chemical Romance's second or even third album when they were doing their poppier alt-rock stuff and had moved out of emo, where I could hear elements of that in here. Not saying it was directly influenced in any way, but just that I can hear familiar writing. There's also a few sections in here that 100% sound like Coheed and Cambria to me, not just in the vocalist who's always just had that phenomenal vocal range that matches Coheed's vocalist too, but also in the writing. There's parts of this track that, aside from the more progressive and jazzy elements in it, which have always grabbed me, just feel very familiar in the realm of rock. I love the ideas in this. They feel a bit more open. I don't know if this would be earlier in their career, where maybe they were still experimenting with things, or later in their career after they had felt that they had reached a level of recognition where they could begin to be more creative than their other stuff. But for the most part, this is a group that I thought I knew. I've listened to 4, 5 tracks from them maybe, and I thought I had a pretty good idea of the kind of music they wrote, and this is a really big departure from that. I'd be interested to see where this sits in their discography. It just feels different from, slightly different from what I expect from them. Now, as we are doing Genre Fusion Week, let's talk about the fused genres. In fact, what's interesting is that I'd classify this under jazz fusion, which is already a genre of fused genres. We have a genre fusionception going on right here. Jazz fusion is generally a combination of rock and jazz. We can certainly hear both elements in this. Not just the jazzy instrumentation, as we do have the saxophones. We have a general focus of a rhythm section in here where the bass and the drums aren't half of the band like they would be in a rock track, but they're the part of the band that captures the rhythm. We have walking bass lines. They lead the song rhythmically and harmonically. We have the drum section, or the drummer, which is playing a bit of a lighter groove and focusing on syncopation since the bass has the chord backbeat locked down for the group. We also have the piano in here, which in jazz is typically part of the rhythm section, primarily playing little ornamental licks, ways to keep things rhythmically expressive while locking down some of the harmonic elements. If you think of your rhythm guitarist in a rock band, that's kind of what the piano does in some jazz, and we kind of hear a lot of that in here as well. This is the rhythm section, and it's only part of the band. And in fact, what I really love is during the verse, we get just these three instruments and the vocals, and they lay down the foundation. There's nothing really intricate going on with these three instruments. The vocals on top are just giving us a strong melody at the beginning of the verse, but it's what happens at the halfway point in both verse 1 and 2, where the guitars have this really cool lick that they start, I think it's beat 3 of the bar prior, and it leads them into the downbeat of the bar that starts the second half of the verse. And this is where the guitars come in and play counterpoint to the vocals. This entire section just works really well. It elevates the rhythmic syncopation that we were already exploring with the rhythm section, while also bringing in more melodic layering and harmonic layering, given that the two guitars are typically harmonizing with each other. So we're expanding the sound sphere. We're filling in empty space, what was previously empty space. So we're getting a little bit of energy from that. It's stacked now. We have these extra layers. We have harmony, giving us more harmonic information just in these two parts. And we have counterpoint. We have two melodic ideas going off simultaneously while also expanding upon the rhythmic ideas. It is just a phenomenal way to take something that was already catchy and groovy and saying, how can we take this to the next level? How can we expand this? How can we make this bigger without losing what it is? We just bring in these guitars. Absolutely phenomenal. I think the saxophones come in here for a little bit as well, but they're more ornamental. That takes us to the pre-chorus, which gives us the triplet vibe, the bump, 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 checka, checka, dump, bump, bump. Very cool rhythmic lead up. We also have that whole rhythmic cadence switch up going up there, going from the highly syncopated, constantly changing rhythms into this more static triplet pulse that kind of creates this home rhythm that we continue to come back to for the entirety of this pre-chorus. And that leads us into the chorus. I like this chorus because it feels expansive, it feels freeing. We have this cool arpeggio line, the do 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 do. Like it's just this big, massive rising and falling sound, and it is pushed out to the sides. I'm putting this on the sides of the video for a reason. It is something that sits around the catchy bass and the vocal lines here and the core part of the song. This sits outside of it, just feels expansive and freeing. This whole setup, verse, first half to second half expansion, the rhythmic switch up in the pre-chorus, and the rising energy into the chorus with all of this large bombast is a phenomenal movement of ideas. But what I think is interesting about all this too isn't just the energy and the dynamics and all that, but it's also harmony. What I find interesting about these three sections is that they are all, I don't know if they're in totally different keys, but they're definitely highlighting different emotional feels throughout them. In particular, the verse ends up feeling a bit rockier, the pre-chorus a bit jazzier, and the chorus kind of brings some of that alt rock energy into it. And so we kind of get these harmonic devices that are more genre coded than any other part of the song. And what's cool about this is while the harmonic elements, I can kind of, pinpoint where they may have come from genre wise, it's still just one element of these sections. It's just the harmony. When you listen to the rhythms, when you listen to the melodies, when you listen to the way things are layered, or when you listen to how the drums are playing or the bass, that's where you still get other components. And this is where the genre fusion really shines. Every part of this song feels like it has one foot in the side of jazz and one foot in the side of rock. And it's just, how far are we into one side or the other? And what types of ideas from those genres are we pulling from? What kind of harmonies, what kind of rhythmic devices, what kind of subgenre ideas. And I think this is very cool because the song feels consistently fresh, and this even pulls its way into the post-chorus and eventually the bridge, the solo section. There's a lot of ideas in here that feel completely fresh against everything else, while honestly still being in line with it all. It's still rock and jazz combined. It never really feels like it veers off into something completely unaccounted for or unexpected. Everything feels like it fits despite the harmonic shifts throughout, despite the rhythmic shifts throughout, despite the refocusing on different ideas. Should it be an instrumental? Should we have vocals? Should we have counterpoint? Should we strip things down? All of these are going to bring in their own vibes and flavors to the music, but it never feels disjointed. I find that to be really interesting. The only time I would say that there's any sharp change to anything is coming from the chorus back to the verse, which tends to be a very sharp cutoff, which I'm going to assume is intentional given how smooth all the other transitions are. I mean, that is a bombastic final moment. We finally get the line of the title, "Leave Your Light On." We have saxophone and I think trumpet just blasting these high notes on the side. He's belting these notes out. The guitars are big, and then just the verse kicks in, and we're back to just rhythm section and the vocalist. It's a very stark contrast, and it stands out amongst the rest of the song's transitions, which are relatively smooth. Moving from the second chorus into the first part of the bridge, the post-chorus section, that is a bit sharper, but moving from this more alt-rock idea into the guitar solo section felt rather natural. And I commented during the guitar solo as we slowly ramped up the guitarist's intensity, moving from some more legato ideas into some faster picking. We bring the triplet vibe underneath, and we basically incorporate the pre-chorus into the guitar solo so that we can naturally go into the chorus, because we already associate that the bump, bump, bump is going to take us into the chorus section. It's already done it twice. The precedent has been set. We're going to lean into it. It is a wonderful movement through all three of these ideas. So yeah, just very cool ideas, and it puts so much more emphasis on that sharp drop at the end of the chorus then. Really makes me wonder what's going on there. I'm hoping maybe the lyrics might shed a little bit of light about why we would need that drop, but as of right now, like I mentioned, it just feels intentional, and there's a lot of fingers being pointed at it to say this means something. We did this on purpose. Now, the melody writing in here is generally catchy. The vocal lines are incredibly memorable. The chorus is going to be stuck in my head for a while. I don't know how long. It's just that triplet beat. That's catchy. That's going to be stuck in my head. Great hook there. we get to the guitar solo, and I really love the flexibility of this solo here. We start off in a new, fresh harmonic sound. Again, I don't know if we are in a different key, but we do seem to be in a slightly different mode. This one feels a bit more jazzier. We bring a lot of the energy down, and this guitar is really the spotlight of everything. Much like in a jazz solo, you bring all the energy down in order to make room for your soloist. Whereas in rock, and even metal, just kind of rock adjacent there, sometimes you can still have your your lead guitars full strength, full volume underneath your solo guitars, playing the riff that they've been playing. So to me, it's always more of a jazzy thing to bring the energy down to make room for your soloist. And we get that here. And the guitar solo starts out rather fluid, very legato. We haven't really heard a lot of this. This is a rhythmically dense track with a lot of shorter staccato rhythmics to create that the syncopation to the song, which is what gives it groove throughout pretty much every part of the track. And here we've kind of slowed things down with lots of longer drawn out notes, smoother movements. Bring the energy down, ramp it up a little bit. We get some faster ideas, or bring it down again. Just really great control over all of this. I was curious where this was going. I think there was less than a minute left in the track, and well, typical structure says we need to get back to the chorus, but I really didn't see how we were going to do that harmonically or energy-wise. There's just nothing here that's really going to bring us back to it. And the guitar starts to ramp up energy slowly, though. We go from these longer held out notes into a couple of quarter notes, introducing some eighth notes into that, creating rhythmic variation here. And we start speeding it up, and the guitarist begins to move a little bit into the realm of maybe not necessarily shred, but faster, more impressive, visually impressive playing. And this is about the time that the band begins to swell up under it and we begin to introduce the pre-chorus. And again, this is just a phenomenal movement. It comes out of left field a little bit, like how are we going to get here? But again, it's the little changes over the way. It's the storytelling. It's making sure that the listener can understand that the journey from here to there makes sense. It isn't just a sharp shift, a sharp turn. It is a story to tell. And I think the guitars do a great job of telling that story and allowing the instruments around them to help elevate that story and bring it all together by the end. So I'm totally on board with, well, I was going to say the melody writing, but I think I have consistently been on board with that. Thank You Scientists are fantastic at writing catchy songs, and this is no different. So yeah, even the guitar work is great. Let me hit some lyrics on this and then we're going to wrap it up. Well, what we have here is a love song of sorts. The chorus says, "We're not getting any younger, and I'd rather die alone than to live my life with another. I know you're all I need, just listen to me. I'm not wasting no more time, so dig a little deeper inside. Would you leave the light on?" Basically says, life's short. You're the one I want to spend my life with. What do you say? Pretty straightforward. The verses talk about being in a dream. They don't want to wake up because in this dream, everything is perfect. They're with this person. Life makes sense. They could have everything. They just want to make that dream reality. That's pretty much the whole track right there. Pretty straightforward lyrics. So I'm not too sure what's up at the end of the chorus then. Unless it's about being left on a cliffhanger, left on an edge. I mean, this person has shot their shot. The ball's in the other person's court. They're waiting for an answer, and maybe they're not going to get it right now. Kind of left in relationship limbo, waiting to get an answer back about the status of these two people. So maybe that's what it's about. Tensions are high, the energy's up there, and it's sort of, I'll get back to you on it. Maybe that's what's going on there. Otherwise, though, definitely a lot of upbeat energy in the music. This is a high energy song right here, lyrically. Judging from the verses, it sounds like this person might have had a little bit of anxiety about asking the question, and so that energy is certainly felt in the song, and it grows over time too. Up until the question comes out: would you leave the light on? Would you wait for me? Would you, be the house that I find comfort in? I can come home to you every day for the rest of my life. It's the big question. That's what the whole song builds to at the end of each chorus. So, yeah, really well written. Great job storytelling that. Straightforward lyrics, I'm always a fan of. That means I can, talk about them. I'm down for this. I'm gonna have to figure out what album this is on. Um, and maybe this will be my introduction to them. It is an earlier one though. I had mentioned, what was the dates I said? Like 07, 08 until like 2012, I think. That was my range. It's 2011. So pushing to the end of the range, but I still had the right era for this. And I think that's earlier. Didn't Thank You Scientist come around in the 2010s? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look more into this though, but whatever album this is, sounds like it might be the place I need to start with them. These are my thoughts though on Thank You Scientist, Leave Your Light On. What did you think of this track? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that you'd like to add on to what I said or maybe correct me on if I misspoke? Do you have your own interpretation of this track, your own perspective or opinion on it? Please put all of that and any other thoughts you might have into the comment section below. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. Takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. All right, that wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.